Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Jerome Legacy, and I am back with another one with the reality media king himself. Carlos King has had an interview with DMX's ex-wife, Tashera, on the battles of her estate, of his estate, her new book, and the 15 kids that she's been dealing with. We're going to go ahead and just jump right on into it and see what the tea is. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to sip this. Drink responsibly.
X was a man of God, don't get me wrong. Like, he knew his father. I saw him manifest his whole life. But when he got up in that devil's playground, which is the music industry, I saw him gain the world and lose his soul.
So give it up for the Tashera Simmons.
Hey.
Large part of the world know you as DMX's ex-wife. I really want to know the woman.
A family of 7 kids. I'm the oldest. At the age of 14, though, my mom said she was going to the store and never came back. 5 years later, my mother, it was a knock on the door. She walked in with a baby. Come to find out, my mom left my dad for his father.
Tashera.
Hold up, we gotta stop right there. What exactly was just said? She said her mom left out 15 years later or something. She come back with a baby. Turns out she left her father, her father, for his father, and had a baby with him, and came back home. Can he do it? Woo! Won't he do it? That, you know, that's some foolery. But we gonna get it. This sound like the Apple Watch story. I don't know. I'm scared already. It's going down in the DMs. But you know, DMX baby mother. You know, we gonna see what's going on. Carlos King. Let's do it.
Yep, kicked my grandmother out of her house.
Oh, babe.
And I didn't get therapy till after my divorce. And I had so much other things to unpack before I even jumped into marriage.
Now, why did you say yes to dating DMX at 17 years old, child?
Earl, he didn't have anything. He was so attached to my struggle, and I was attached to his struggle in a way that I was just like, wow, we're the same people.
Where was his parents at the time that you guys met?
He was very hurt, and his mother just not loving him the way he knew he should be loved.
You had to be this man's wife, but also his mom in a sense.
I feel like he was always looking for his mother's love. Unfortunately, a lot of women in that path got hurt.
Because infidelity played a huge part of the destruction of the relationship.
I allowed a lot of things that he did within the marriage. The more famous he got, the more higher he got, the more foolishness he did. What is he gonna do if I leave him? I'm like, he's gonna die. Like, I literally used to feel like that. Just loved him so deeply, and I felt almost like I was his mother.
Did the drugs happen prior to the fame?
When he had the money and no one can control it, it just got crazy.
DMX obviously has 15 children with the 9.
Well, clearly there's a lot of history here, because this sounds like the sound bites before we even get into the video, and I'm already like on a whirlwind. It's giving tornado, baby. My head is on a pivot. You know? We're gonna see how we can get through this, because this says 1 hour and 43 minutes, baby. And I mean, it seems like it can keep my attention. Carlos is good at keeping attention, so we'll see what it gives.
Women. What is your relationship like now with the women that he had children with?
What I would say is,
Do you recall in the heyday how much money he accumulated?
say we were very close to being billionaires. They asked X about the Barclays Center. They called him and said Jay is in, and they want to know if he want to put in $1 million to get in. X didn't want to do it, and now look.
You know, you can make all that money and then die not having anything to show for it.
And that hurts me. Like, all these women that's fighting and feel they're entitled, they fighting for pennies.
There's no money to be distributed.
No, his biggest assets is his catalogs, his music.
And who has that as of today?
So,
unfortunately, he died broke.
That's the real tea. Who got the catalog? You see how they skip right out of that one. We gotta, let's get into it.
Subsequently, there is this sort of battle when it comes to the estate. You stand still as of today as the only woman he legally married. Where are you with that as of today?
Damn. So what I can say is,
what is your relationship like now with like Swizz Beatz, Eve, and the Rough Riders family?
After X passed away, I was mad at everybody. I saw him 6 days before it happened, and he told me, he said, my vessel is so tired. This may not make sense to you right now, Tashera. He said, but what I do know is my name will live on forever.
Between everybody in the house, we probably have over 30 or 40 prescriptions.
Good RX. It was a lifesaver for me. It was the only...
Hey, Raindrops, not be...
Yeah, if y'all don't know, we do not pay for YouTube over here. We watching it just like y'all. So stay tuned. Let's get into carlosking. And make sure y'all support his content. And make sure y'all support Ron's. Give it a thumbs up if you're watching right now. Yes, you watching. Share the video. Thumbs it up. It just takes a thumbs up. If you can't do anything, thumbs it up. Okay? Subscribe. Show some love.
Before we get into this video, I want to talk to you about joining my community. Yes, my YouTube.
Make sure y'all join his community, but I'm going to try to see if I can skip forward because this is a long video.
A large part of the world know you as DMX's ex-wife. But before we get into that, I really want to know the woman, So talk to me just about where you grew up, a little bit about your childhood, because you obviously had a life before you met the late, great DMX.
Yes. So I grew up in Yonkers, a family of 7 kids. I'm the oldest, so 4 girls and 3 boys.
Back in the day, they used to have such big families, right? That was a really big thing, to have a bunch of kids.
Yes, my mother and father, I was raised Muslim. And I talk about this a lot, how my ex-husband is the one who brought me to Christ. But it was a very strict Muslim home. At the age of 14, though, my mom said she was going to the store and never came back. My youngest was 1 year old. I was 14. I thought I was just getting ready to get out there and finally be a teenager, get my first job. And I had to turn from a teenager to a mother literally overnight.
Wait. Your mom said, I'm going to the store, and you're 14 years old, you're the oldest. Where was your father at this time?
So my father, we were very close at the time, great father, great Muslim, family. He lost it. At first, he was there.
So they were married?
They were married. Also.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
married.
Not a single mom?
Not a single mom, together, married. He was, out with his friends. She said she was going to the store. I was supposed to go to this block party that I begged them to go to because it was very strict. But because I was getting up in age, they agreed to let me go. I, said, Mom, she was a seamstress, so she's supposed to be fixing my jeans for me. I was like, Mom, Carrie's going to be here in another 2 hours. She said, I'll be right back. I'm just going to the corner store. She never came back. I waited for her.
That's a gag. Could you imagine your mother saying she going to the store? Not even saying this situation, but just never come back and leave you in the house by yourself? You getting ready to go to school, your mother like, I'm going to go to the store, I'll be right back. I'll be right back in a minute. And never come back. Wouldn't your heart just drop? My heart dropped for her just hearing that.
I know. It's just crazy right
That's so sad. Okay, let's get into it.
I went to the store because it's literally on the corner. She wasn't there. I went to the corner.
Oh my God, that's that moment where you lose your kids in the grocery store or anybody and you trying to look for them and your heart keep it pouncing. Now she's going back to the corner store looking for her mother.
Down to see maybe she's at the other store coming up the hill. 3 hours go by, 2 or 3 hours. My friend is there. I had to just throw something on. I knew something wasn't right because the 7 kids, she's always been, until that point, a devoted mother to us. I have nothing ill to say about her up until that moment. And that's really where my strength or a real adversity started when I was 14 years old.
And there were no signs of her unhappiness, depression, or did anything lead up to that moment that you can think about now?
Yep. So looking back, I remember a woman maybe a year before that coming to the house asking for my father. I remember my mother going, because I opened the door and she asked for my father. I remember my mother going to the door telling me to step back, and she went out and closed the door. I remember when she came back in, the tension that her and my father had and going in the back. So there was some infidelity there. My dad was totally different from my mom. She's from Panama, very reserved and soft-spoken. My dad was from Brooklyn, very fast-talking, gift the gab type of a brother. So now looking back, I see a lot of just
those are some two very diverse backgrounds, and they really do be meeting up north. That's where they converge at. You can be from anywhere.
New York is a melting pot.
just always taking over conversations, overlooking her feelings, kind of stepping all over her. But I didn't know that. I only know that as I got older and I sat back and was just like, okay. But it still doesn't give her, I don't know how, me, a mother of 4, I don't know how you can just walk out on your 7 children.
And
why is filing your taxes with Free Tax USA different? Well, for starters, our premium federal tax returns are free for every.
when your father found out
The real gag is how long did it take for her to come back? And I wonder, do they talk now?
that conversation, like, were you the one who told him, like, Mama left and shh?
Yeah, so I was sitting on the stoop, waiting. It was a summer night, I'll never forget it, with my friend Carrie, who I went to the block party with. My dad walked up and smelling the stench of liquor, and I said, Mom didn't come home. And at that time, my siblings were just outside playing. 2 of them was at their godmother's house in the building, but I felt that eerie feeling in the house, which was very rare because so many kids. My mom was always like a mom that stayed home, and he looked at me with no care and said, "Oh, she'll probably be back shortly," and just went in the house. But I knew that there was something wrong, that she still didn't come back. It was 8:00 at night now.
Did she ever come back?
She came back. So 5 years later.
Hold on. Not 5 years.
You so stupid.
I'm sorry. Not 5 years later.
I'm so done with you.
I'm sorry, y'all. Leave comments below. I'm not laughing. I'm laughing with it. You know what I mean? Because that's serious. 5 years later, and she dead serious about that. 5 years later, like, yo, what up? Make me a cup of tea.
Just so you know, my father turned to drugs.
Oh.
He went from my best friend to my greatest.
Oh, it's just going downhill, y'all. Just downhill.
She said she had a lot to unpack.
Me, because I didn't know at the time about drugs and alcohol. I just remember the smell, and at them in the 70s, they're smoking weed. Everybody's just having fun, beer. That's how I kind of looked at it. And he was angry. He said I looked a lot like her. He called me out my name a lot. And it was just very uncomfortable. So I wound up going to stay with my god sister, and I would just come back and forth. He used to steal my money. I only had a birthday
So she got the brunt of the abuse because the mother left. Wow.
job. So it was just maybe $60 every time I got paid. He would take that and say, he used to say, like, you live in my house. This is my money. Anything you bring in here is mine. And mind you, now I talk about this in a book, but I start off, you'll see, I talk about what foundation and loving bond that me and my dad had, and how I literally saw what trauma and, I guess not loss, abandonment, what it does to someone. Because I was oldest, so he turned it all on me. And 5 years later, my mother, it was a knock on the door. And at this time, I just was always back and forth because of my brothers and sisters, but I wasn't living there because of the circumstances. And she walked in with a baby in her pouch, like she never left. We were in shock.
Not like she never left. Like, they are dragging it. Like, y'all gotta go get this book. I want to read the book at this point. Like, she is really hyping this book up. She's selling it to me. Baby, this is like true crime. Like, baby, like real stories, honey. It's giving Law and Order. Period.
We didn't even know what to say. But I would tell you a story, which I don't know if I've ever talked about this, but come to find out, my dad knew what happened. So I was 14 years old, so we were little.
And that's why he really was taking out on her. He knew what was going on. And she didn't know, nobody else. They just clueless like she just did. He knew why she did and what she did for and who she did with. Let's get into the tea.
On the streets, you might as well say with friends, family. And come to find out, my mom left my dad for his father.
Tashera.
Yep.
Pause. Mic drop. The gag. The gag is mama was busy, baby.
I see why you went to drugs.
Woo!
You lost your woman to your daddy.
To your daddy? The OG?
So no
Daddy must have had some swag, though, to pull the younger from the younger son and pull his wife. But, you know, aren't Muslims allowed to have like 7 wives and something like that? Yeah. So I don't know the blurred lines that's going on there, but I still don't think we're supposed to be interracially having sex with our kids' spouses while they got 7 kids with them. And you go have 1 and make it 8. All right now. Now, where's the 8th child at? I would like to know that.
Grandmother out her house.
Wait. Go ahead.
Kicked my grand, went on to Jersey, because it was all going on in New Jersey. That's where my father's family. I talk about what foundation and loving bond that me and my dad had, and how I literally saw what trauma and, you know, I guess not loss, abandonment, what it does to someone. Because I was older, so he turned it all on me. And 5 years later, my mother, it was a knock on the door. And at this time, I just was always back and forth because of my brothers and sisters, but I wasn't living there because of the circumstances. And she walked in with a baby in her pouch, like she never left. We were in shock. We didn't even know what to say. But I'm going to tell you a story, which I don't know if I've ever talked about this, but come to find out, my dad knew what happened.
And when she says that, you could tell she suppressed that memory. She said, I don't know if I've ever said this. She's writing a whole book, and it's something that she suppressed deep down in herself because she really didn't want to accept that. And the father, everybody kind of ignored it, and that's that black thing in the family where we sweep it under the rug when somebody's molested, when something happened, we just sweep it under the rug. So we know it's there, but really because we talk so much and we just kiki around it, we kind of forget it happened. She had to catch it. You could see it in her eyes. You know what? I don't know if I ever said this, but my father knew what happened. The baby was by her father's father. Let's get into it. Carlos is always giving you the good interviews. Shout out to Carlos. Make sure y'all follow him.
So I was 14 years old, so we were little. We were on the streets, you might as well say, with friends, family. And come to find out, my mom left my dad for his father.
Ever since I was a G, I've been legit. You really got to take a minute on breathe on that one, for real. Again, we watching this in real time with y'all. We do not pay for YouTube exclusives, unpaid programming. But you got to really breathe on that one. Like, this is really being decompact properly. And this is how you unpack an interview. Shout out to Carlos, though.
Tashera.
Yep, kicked my grandmother out of her house.
Wait. Go ahead.
Hold up. The father, which is her father's father, was still married to the grandmother. Kicked her out and moved his son's wife in and had a baby with her. Did she just say the grandmother got kicked out and the kids got left all 7 by themselves and motherless? Stuff is really going on in households, and it's really being swept under the rug, and it be in our households, and it be swept under the rug from molestation and stuff like this, and we just don't talk about it. Books need to be written. I got a couple books for you guys. Okay?
Kicked my grand, went on to Jersey, because it was all going on in New Jersey. That's where my father's family was from. Went on over there. I guess they finally, now I'm assuming that they finally was like, we making this official. Kicked my grandmother out. Now, mind you, they in their 70s.
Kicked the grandmother out in her 70s to take in his son's wife. Whew. Let that breathe for a second, y'all.
And your mom at this time, how old is she?
She had to be in her 30s.
So your mom...
Meaning her father snatched her mother young, because she was only 30. The grandmother was 70. She already had 7 kids for him. He was plotting her young, which I think in the Muslim, they could marry pretty young and stuff like that in different religions too. Because if she was 30 when she got snatched and went to the grandfather, she had a lot of time on her hands.
Who was married to your biological dad, left you guys to be in a relationship with your biological dad's father.
Yep.
Who at the time, your mother's in her 30s and he's in his 70s. And your grandmother got kicked out the house and your mom was sleeping with her husband's dad and
had a baby
by him.
He had to unpack that for y'all again. Did y'all catch the repeat?
So your sibling is also your aunt or uncle.
Catch the tea. And your grandmother is now homeless at 70. That must have been some good punani. Baby. Slinging. Maybe he was a porn star back in his day and he was slinging it at 70? What was you doing? No, he said the grandmother was 70, so the men is usually younger. The grandmother was 70. The grandfather could have been a couple years younger. Maybe like late 50s, early 60s.
No, they both were in their 70s.
You think they both was in their 70s? You're not even going to give them that much?
No.
Wow. All right. Well, y'all call it in the comments.
And your father knew this whole time, hence the drug addiction and the anger. Oh, babe. Okay.
Yeah.
So she comes in the house with the baby in tow.
And just like, hi.
Not in tow. It was the in tow.
Okay, AAA.
Woo! In tow, baby. You better have that AAA membership, period.
Hi, God, Tashera. Because she have an accent. And I'm like, Mom? Like, what? Like, Mom.
She looking at her like, bitch, is you delusional? Because you must have walked up in the wrong house. That's what I'm feeling like. I probably would have slapped her. Dead ass. Bitch, you left me with these kids to raise 7 kids? And I'm 14?
Nothing to that lady.
You know, just out of respect, just to wake her up. Like, boo, maybe you was asleep. Because you definitely shouldn't have left me here with no 7 kids. At 14, she had to become a mother of 7. That's crazy. And back in that day?
Where were you? Like, who's the baby? Like, we were just so stuck. And my father lost it. He said, you better get out this house. And it was, I was like, no. Like, it was like I was torn. Because I was like, she's back though. Like, what happened? I want to know.
Because none of the 7 kids know that she was with the grandfather. And that's the grandfather's baby. And y'all are all related.
Right.
Only he knows, so he's spazzing and they trying to protect the mother like she's still their mother and she does have a baby with her. Don't start hitting her or, and he's spazzing like, nah, she a nigga on the street. It's up for you. Like, it's all fair game.
What's going on? Get the fuck out of here, Marcia. Who the hell you think you are? Coming back here with this baby. And I was there with my god sister, so we were like, what is happening? Like, okay, I get it. But I really didn't get it because I'm still really young. I think I had to have been about 17, 18 then. And so I still haven't been in a real relationship. So I really didn't. Well, I met X when I was 17, but it was like really the beginning of.
She hadn't even broke into her
That womanhood.
Her womanhood, yeah. Her down below region, her nether regions, or just like her feelings, her emotions, her bag. So she didn't understand, like, all this mommy daddy beef. Like, she got a baby. All I know is I'm trying to protect a woman with a baby. And you wild and you a grown man. And you been mad at me and beating me the whole time. She been going. So you need to chill out because I know where you could go with this.
So it was like still dating boyfriend and girlfriend. So I didn't really get a chance to live life to understand why my father was so angry. Just the fact that she left him and walked out, but then to come in with a kid. But then I found out afterwards because he made sure she got out of there and she left. And then I was just like, what daddy, what happened? Like, she's back. Don't you want to know? That's the bait. Like, and he just, my first time I've ever seen him cry. And he was just like, and he told me what happened. He said he went out there when he heard about it. Nobody wanted to tell him. He had to find out from a friend. He went to go see for himself, and he said he brought it with him because he said that in a smoke.
Is that what she said? 22, a pistol of some sort? Wow, so he had to go search for his wife and find her via word of mouth on the street, via gossip, to find her laid up with his father. That's hard. That's a hard pill to swallow. Especially when you know everybody else know before you know, and then like everybody keying on you like, oh yeah, you know your mother, she's hot out here.
He threw a smoke in the house so he could, and he said he saw my mother run out with a tank top and some little shorts, and he said he was planning to both of them, and he was on the side of the house, and he said, and when he looked, he seen a neighbor staring right at him from the house in between, because he was in between houses. And he said he knew that was nothing but God. He said because he wasn't thinking. He was so angry, and he had these 7 kids at home that was already struggling. And he said, you know, he was in so much tears when he was telling me. And at that moment, I could truly say I really didn't get it. Like that kind of hurt, what that hurt may feel like, until I had to experience my own abandonment and betrayal. Which I talk about that in the book too. And I ain't giving it all.
She is plugging this book. If y'all have never ever did a book or press kit or press tour or PR run, take notes, kids. This is what it looks like. Get into it. Let's catch it.
Been a lot, just so you know.
Yeah.
You know, my backstory and...
Pick up the book to read more about that. I am so sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
Wow. So...
The most affordable 12-month GLP-1 program with the same active ingredient as Ozempic and Wegovy for one payment up front, 12 months of weight.
It looks nice, though, right? Shout out to Carlos. I was asking, like, what is he using for his hair? Is he doing the microdermal, like where they basically tattoo it in a little bit? Or you could spray. But it looks like microdermal, and it looks like they did a really nice job, whoever did his. And I love how his beard is looking full. And I'm living for the white moments. The Snow White moment is really giving it to me. And I love his set. So, yeah, we're getting there, guys. We are growing over here at our channel. Keep and stay tuned. If you're still watching at this point, please make sure you thumbs up the video. And make sure you subscribe so you can get your notifications and turn your bells on, guys.
Okay, so obviously you're...
Hold on, you my commentator. You supposed to be in with the video. Don't leave me. Wait, I do have commentators today. We have a special guest in the building.
Mother has a baby with your...
By voice only.
father. So not only is that your brother, you guys are cousins, kind of, right? I think if...
No, is that my nephew?
Is that your nephew? My nephew?
Yeah, you said it would be aunt or nephew or something, right?
It would be uncle / brother, because it's your mother's child, but it's also your dad's sibling because it came from your dad's dad.
Your
brother.
Wait, your grandfather's offspring. Yeah, that's your uncle.
That's my uncle. Yeah, that's
like your uncle. That's your brother, your uncle.
My brother, uncle. So I will say,
you're good. You caught it right on the nose. I would have never got that. Yeah.
After all this came out, I found out that my dad, that's not his biological, but the only dad he's ever known.
Oh, wow. Okay, this is making
sense. But it's better.
Yes, because if that was blood, we was about to really go to bed with that on it. That was going to really, we wasn't going to close that chapter, baby. Not his biological father, but clearly his mother had some type of relation with this man, which is why I'm assuming his mother was the grandmother that got kicked out, and why she got kicked out so easy. She had been messing with this man, but he wasn't much of a man for eons, and he was partially probably raising him in and out as he grew up, so that was the only man he knew as his father, but knew that wasn't his biological father as well. But let's see what she says.
Father passed when he was 7.
Got it.
Now it's making sense. We're connecting some dots, folks. I was hoping, like, come on, give us black folks a little bit of credit. Like, give us something. If we really fathers and we really mothers by biological, give us something. I mean, but you got, you know, shows like Precious You know, when Monique was playing that role, and they was molesting her, and they was the mother and the father doing her. So you know, people just evil, weird, and things can happen. And then his mother met him, and he's been in his life since he was 7, 8 years old. But it's the only father he's ever known.
Yeah.
So.
Did your mom come back to the house to like move back in, or just to say like, hey?
Yep, she kept trying. I was very open and forgiving.
So she wanted to move back in the house?
Oh no, not that house. Oh, she wasn't coming. She wound up getting an apartment in Yonkers.
But did her and your grandfather break up?
Shout out to Yonkers, baby. Yonkers.
So that's why she came back to the house?
Yeah, he actually tried to shoot her foot off. She came back with...
She left her 7 kids to end up almost getting shot in the foot by a man that was supposed to be the stepfather to her husband. The girl wasn't making good decisions. I mean, she just clearly wasn't thinking with her head.
At all.
Maybe she was very naive. I don't know her storyline or background. He said she was from Panamania or something like that.
Panama, yeah.
Maybe she'd been shuffled a bit too much. Maybe she was shooken as a child. Maybe she had what's the shaken baby syndrome? You know, just a couple decks short. You know, she ain't have all the cards. You know, she wasn't playing with a full deck of cards. We don't know.
In crutches.
Mental illness is big in the community. Mental health, guys. Let's do a mental health check. How do you feel?
A foot bandage up, and she said, "Yeah, he tried to shoot my foot off." Yeah, I can't make this stuff up.
No, you can't.
Can't make it up.
I mean, girl, talking about dysfunction. I'm like, yeah.
I mean, it's good in terms of...
For that to be the first 20 minutes, that's a lot to take in.
I'm saying, but look at you. Yeah.
Can you imagine what the rest of her life story is? Woo! Baby girl got records, honey. She done lived a couple lives. I mean, by the age of 18, she done lived 10, 20 lives. Come on now.
Sit down.
Yeah, no, it's a page turner.
You be like, wait, what happened after that? Like,
oh my Lord Jesus.
Yeah, when you think you know, you have no idea. Like,
is your mom still around today?
You know, she just passed away last January 13th.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
God rest her soul. God rest her soul.
I know. You know what? I was taking care of her. Mm-hmm. I moved her into an adult living home because she didn't want to stay in my house because my father was living there. And he never got over it.
He never got over it.
He never got over it.
He never forgave her.
I wouldn't either. You left me for my daddy, girl. And left me with 7 children to make another one.
That's nasty. That is nasty. That's a different level of nasty. It's
it's
disgust at a different
nasty
level.
Work right there.
That's a different level of disgust. I could understand it, but you know, at like what she passed at like 70, like come on.
And that's something I learned from that. I was just like, I can't hold on. Like he was so bitter to the very.
So she learned to be more forgiving because she seen the anguish and the resentment he held on to that just ate him up and just eventually probably killed him. We don't know that yet, but just saying that it killed him spiritually either way. And took her real father away from her and their relationship.
And I was just like, I can't be like that. I saw how it controlled his life, how he looked at women. That's why he's, talked junk to his daughters. And, he gave a little favoritism to his sons. We noticed that, he showed love, but it was always kind of like, he showed love, don't get me wrong. But you just always saw that. And I was just like.
He could never be his true self after that.
To a female.
But it does go to show you, like what she's saying, you have to learn to forgive. It will eat you up. It will do nothing healthy for you. If you learn anything from this, let go of stuff. Because holding on to stuff will drown you.
I don't ever want to be like that. Mm-hmm. And I used to tell him, I was very transparent to my dad. I was like, Dad, you gotta forgive Mom. Like, what, like, look at her. Like, he had a better off life than she did. I mean, she ended up later on getting into a very serious car accident where she lost her only sibling. And she was so depressed that she didn't want to go into therapy. And so she wound up being wheelchair bound. And it was the saddest thing I've ever seen. And I learned.
It's giving karma times 10.
I'm about to say karma's a bitch.
Ooh, Lord.
So
times
sorry.
10. Good Lord. Wheelchair bound. Lost her only sibling.
from that, and she loved God. She praised God. Just, I guess, to just have life, because she actually ended up with a very lonely, miserable life in the end. It was very sad.
Angel?
I mean, 7 kids, that's a couple sins you done committed. And the father, and leaving the kids, and having another baby, and having the nerve to come back, and getting kicked out by the guy that you left your husband for, which was his father. Like, girl, you just spent so many sins in the, what is it, 7 deadly sins. Like, woo, baby, you spent a lot. You done blew the commandments out of the water.
Father, he
Do you know he just passed last August?
I'm sorry.
He knew he was sick. He had cancer. Do I talk about that in the book? But he had some prostate cancer that could have been healed.
Yeah.
But he's this old school, prideful man. I didn't find out till the last 30 days, and he had it for 8 years. And I was angry.
People don't want to take no medicine and want to go see no doctors. You understand? But you should always do health checks and check on yourself. I hope everybody watching this is healthy.
Of course.
Because he did turn his life around, and I dedicate, one of my dedications is to him, because he ended up, when me and ex split, he came in and he was the father to my children that he was never to me. And for that, I was just so grateful.
And that was his second chance. He knew he had did her wrong.
She should have said, not that he's never been to me, that he stopped being to me.
Right, because she said she adored him.
He was amazing before.
She adored him.
14 and under.
She got to see it again before he passed, which was a blessing.
Right.
That was God giving him all a second chance again. That
Full
was a
circle.
blessing.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
So I know I'm moving, speeding ahead, but...
Oh, no, you're doing just fine. You're just fine. I mean, it's listen, one thing about trauma that you go through in your childhood, and unfortunately, especially at that time, therapy wasn't even an option.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, to deal with that, Tashera, I commend you for being the strong woman you are today.
Thank you.
Because I baby... me nor the raindrops child cannot imagine going through that.
Seriously.
My heart goes out to you and your siblings, and obviously may your parents rest in peace.
But and to your point, like, I've dealt, and this is the point of my book, Dying to Self, because I've dealt with so much trauma in my life, and it was so normalized. And I not until therapy is when I realized that I had a lot of luggage. And I didn't get therapy till after my divorce. And I had so much other things to unpack before I even jumped into marriage.
Yeah.
So I was just like, and I had to, therapy was for my flesh, I say, and God is for my spirit and my soul.
So when y'all see them BetterHelp commercials on YouTube, baby, click on and subscribe. Okay? It saves lives.
Take the free trial.
It was out.
Not take the free trial.
A lot of work that needs to be done in this girl.
Yeah, no, I mean, and listen, and unfortunately, at 14 years old, being a young woman, your mother is your superhero because she is supposed to teach you how to be a woman. Yeah. So not to have that, especially when you're the oldest, and you by default are now assigned as not only the big sister, but like the mother figure to your siblings. And that's not fair to you at 14 years old as you're trying to figure out like what's going on with my body, what's going on with my hormone, what's going on with like just life in general. So like, did you have dreams and aspirations as a teenage girl that you wanted to get into? Like, what was that like for you in terms of like being in high school? Did you want to go to college and stuff like that?
This is getting deep. This is getting really deep, bro.
Yeah, you know what? I did. I wanted to be a model because I was always tall. Tallest girl in the class.
You heard that?
I thought about acting.
What's that?
Just because everyone would say, you're such a character, and I used to make all these faces. And mind you, I'm only 14, so I'm just like, I'm about to be able to find, because I was the number one babysitter. I was finally about to go out and live life. I thought. And then all this happened. And in the interim of it, when I was 11, I met my ex-husband. And then we got together, started dating when I was 17. So being the broken little girl that I was at the time, I didn't know I was broken. I didn't move like I was broken. I've always had this happy, cheerful spirit. I don't know. And that's why I said, I just feel like the Spirit of God has always been on my life, because one of the things he said to me as a kid, because he had his own stuff that he used to tell me about, and he was like, how are you so happy? Like you're always so happy, so positive. And I was just like, I guess this is the path I chose, because being negative, I don't like the way it feels.
Yeah.
And it's the survival mode that I think I was always on when I look back.
No, she seen her father be negative and she didn't want to go that way. So she turned around and she's like, okay, I'm going to just do the opposite, because that's not working out. And I see how that works out.
When I first sat in therapy, when the first thing she asked me about was talk about your childhood. And do you know, it took me almost a week before I can get it out. I literally cried and sobbed on that couch. And she said, you can do that. Every time I tried to talk about it, and I never thought that it even bothered me. So I was just like, what is happening here? So
because we can suppress so many things, especially in those early years, which are your innocent years, which were stolen from her at 14.
I know that I had to melt. I had to melt down this person that just continued to pick up luggage after luggage after taking on, being the oldest, taking on, helping everyone, being there for everyone. I mean, then I meet my ex-husband, being there for him, you know, just having a nurturing spirit that God obviously gave me. It just, to a fault, I think now. And that's one of the reasons why I wrote Dying Itself, because then I became a people pleaser without even realizing it.
Yeah.
A yes girl, never hard to say no, because I'm always, for some reason, thinking that seeing myself in everyone. Like, and I'm like, oh, I would want someone to say yes to me. Like, just, I mean, the craziest things too. Like, where it's like, girl, they have no.
And that's where people pleasing is derived from. You are thinking of how you would want someone to treat you, so you end up doing everything for people, and it's like, it doesn't usually come back in the rounds.
For you, like, they don't even care about you. Like, why are you?
Yeah, no, listen, the disease to please is an actual disease, right? And like you, I was the same way as well. And, oh, no, absolutely. And then one thing I love now, Tashera, that I will give you advice, saying no feels good, baby.
Oh.
I love saying no now.
Oh,
and when I say to you, I have no, baby, no, child, I'd be like, no. And people, they'll stare at you like,
did they just say that?
Right.
I'm telling you.
I'd be like, my spirit didn't move. So I'd be like, nah, my spirit ain't moved. Like, it has, you know what I'm saying? But I
love that.
No, so my advice to you is like, listen, you're already healed in that sense, but to y'all, say no to folks, child. The disease to please is an actual disease, and I'm telling you, saying no feels great. And even if you think they're mad at you, they'll get over it, child, because they're going to need you for something else that you may say yes to.
That's right. 100%. You're 100% right.
Yeah.
And I'm like...
But it's the fear of losing someone because you tell them no, and then it's like, oh, they're not going to be mad at me or whatever.
No, I don't care.
Like, you're giving me flashbacks, because this year, ever since my father passed, my life has totally changed. I was just like, you know what? Life is short, and I'm tired of pleasing people. People don't... I give them a whole cake, and if I don't give them that little slice, I'm the worst person in the world. I'm like, but what happened to all the other pieces?
It's that old saying, no good deed goes unpunished.
I gave you.
Child, they mad because you gave them the cake, and what I realized is instead of giving them the cake, you got to give them the ingredients to make their own cake.
Yes, that part.
Like, I always tell people, it's easy to borrow money from me, but how about you borrow my mind so I could teach you how to make that money so that you can make on your own?
Right.
Because me giving you $100, right? You take it and you run with it, you spend it, you want more money in 5 days, okay? But if you borrow my mind, I can teach you how to make that $100 and flip it. But nobody wants to borrow the mind because...
Nobody wants to do the homework, ever.
works. They want the easy way out, which is borrowing things from you, like the whole cake child. No, you need some vanilla extract. You need some brown sugar. You need the vanilla icing, non-GMO, gluten-free.
Tired. I'm tired. That's right. Non-GMO, gluten-free. I love that part.
Just saying.
Yes, that's the clean. Yeah, it's true though, man.
Yeah.
Like it has to be, and you're right. It's so liberating. It's so freeing. When I started saying no, and at first I still had that little like, oh, but then I was just like, yeah, no, yeah. And then it just started, like you said, spirit wasn't moved. I have a spirit of discernment. I always knew I was wrong when I said yeah, but I was still saying, I knew I should have said no, but I said yeah. And I'm like, and that feeling of knowing you should have said no, it just sits with you. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was just sitting with me. I was like, Tashera, why did you say yes? You know.
But it's good.
I absolutely would recommend GoodRx. It's simple, it's easy, it's an app.
You know when it's
at least you know now.
Now,
why did you say yes to dating DMX at 17 years old, child?
Honey, let me tell you, I was. Honey.
Tall, dark, and handsome, honey.
Girl, tall, dark, handsome. While good girls like bad guys. Honey, he was a bad boy.
Good boys like bad boys, too.
Come on now. Well, you know, we right here with it now.
So wait, what was DMX like at 17 years old? Was he barking?
I'm about to say, girl.
You can.
Girl. He was barking. He was robbing. He was stealing. He was a hot mess, but I loved every part of that. When I tell you, I loved every bit of him, especially when I got to...
I could imagine she was getting her life at 17 with DMX. Where my dogs at? You know, like, yes, eat me up, bitch, yes, take me in the night.
Oh, him. He was the most realest person I had ever came across at 17. That's why everything in my life wasn't real. It was fake. My mom done left me. My father done betrayed me. He called me all out my name. The people that used to be there for me. I mean, mind you, I'm a little girl. Now I'm the reject because my parents don't treat me right and our family's all dysfunctional. And then here I go, meeting this old... thugged out man, a little young boy with a dog that barked.
So he had a pit bull or something?
He had a black pit bull called Blackie.
At 17?
At 17.
And he saw...
No, wait, at 11. When I met him, he had Boomer.
Oh, Lord.
Well, I mean, I shouldn't say when I met him. When we started dating, he had Boomer. And Boomer was human. I ain't never seen no dog he know how to speak Spanish, answering in Spanish, and nothing Spanish about DMX. He telling him to take Chinese food from Chinese delivery men. I was like, oh my God, he is my hero, honey. Yes, bad boy.
Every girl, and some man, have dated a bad boy, but that's why I love it, because there is something fascinating about, like, because here you are, you're like, you know, goody two shoes, you're holding down the household, you're holding down the family, you're doing everything right? And then you meet this man, and there's a little something fascinating about, like, the dark side.
Yes, there was something fascinating.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, he don't care. He really just don't care. And it wasn't like I'm gonna kill everybody, don't care. He was just like, man, I want to be free. He said, I don't know who to trust. I don't think no one loved me but this dog. So I'm gonna do whatever I want to do, because at the end of the day, ain't nobody care anyway about me. That's what...
Oh, that's sad to hear.
He told me, he said, the only person who loved me is this dog right here. He was like, I can't, this is the only one who gives me attention. I was like, well, damn, I got, I'm going to be having some competition with a dog. I was like, I mean,
right.
I would tell him literally to leave his dog on when he came to see me. Because if he was to stay the night, he would be like, can he get into bed with us? I was like, absolutely not. That dog better stay on the floor. You're going too far with dog.
It's funny how God works because here you are, you're a teenage girl and you have obviously abandonment issues because obviously your father's estranged, although he's there, but he's being mean to you. Mm-hmm. Your mom left, and you meet this beautiful soul with this exterior, a bad boy, but inside, a God-fearing man who obviously has abandonment issues because he feels like his best friend is his dog. And the beautiful works of God is bringing two people together who need each other at that time, and they may not know it. Because where was his parents at the time that you guys met?
So his mom was a single mom. There was 4 children in the home. Each of them had different fathers. So it was something that X would always talk about when I first met him. He was like, whenever I do have children, he said I wanted to be with one woman. And I didn't know anything else because even though we were, all broken up inside the home, we all came from the same mother and father. So, and I said, why is that? He said, because I know what it feels like. He said, if all the dads are not doing right and only one is doing right, you feel very left out. And he said, even though my mom would try to put a lot of pressure on my sister's father to, if he bring McDonald's to bring for the other kids, he said, it just never felt right to me. He said, it made me feel worse. And I was like, really? But now as a woman, I could understand that, because it's like, I want my dad to bring me something. Why her dad gotta, when you're a kid. And that's what he was saying. So he was very, okay, so the 11-year-old incident that when we first met, I was always very strict home, so we could only go outside when we went to the store. So this particular time I went outside and I saw him about to take an old lady's purse with his dog.
Oh,
I seen him calling the command, and I talk about this on a funeral.
That was her introduction to meeting this man. That had to be scary, exciting, and everything all in once. Like, what in the world is this boy gonna do to me?
This is a story that I told at his funeral. I came outside and I saw this young little boy, because we're the same age, 11, and he was giving his dog a command, and there's only one TV in the house, so I never really got a chance to see anything exciting. And I just stood there and I watched him give the command, the dog take the purse from this old woman, and they had to run past me. But he was like jogging, running past, because he knew the old lady couldn't catch up to him. And I looked at him like I was in awe, like, wow. And then he gave me this look like, you better not say nothing. And I was like, my hero. Like, I literally was like, who is this boy? Like, he taught his...
Not my hero. Woo, that's what happens when you get no entertainment at home, baby.
How to take a woman's purse.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. When I tell you his dogs was trained, I've never seen... I'm not even exaggerating. Like on command, like doing things, pick something up. I know the pause is like the normal, but like he really, he invested so much time in his dogs. And that dog, it was like almost get close. Like it was a whole plan, and then get him. And he just took the purse and ran. And I said he used to do that with Boomer right before he became famous. Boomer had a arrest warrant out for him. The dog.
The dog?
Because he stole so many Chinese food.
The dog had an arrest warrant? Whoa, he took that "where my dog's at" seriously.
X.
X was a genius.
He really was, though.
Be able to teach a dog these things. I'm fascinated by that.
I'm telling you, and I used to be, and now that I be around other dog lovers, I'm like, these dogs are smart. Y'all don't be really invested in dogs.
Yeah.
Because I saw him do it.
Wow. When did you know you were in love with him?
Free Tax USA, where federal filing is always free with no games or pricing gimmicks. Because choosing your tax software
this is a long one, y'all.
Let me see. When did I know I was in love with him?
I'm about to lay down a second. Right.
I would say...
I'm going to give it another 10.
Months and months, because he definitely was in love first. Only because when I first met him, the first week, and I had abandonment issues, and I had my walls up. He told me from that time in front of the building, at 11 years old, he fell in love with me then. He said he used to have dreams that he was a lion and I was the princess that would tame him. And I'm almost sure that he says that in an interview, like I would have to dig in the archive. And so he told me that when he met me, when we first went on our first date. And I was like, all right now. I was like, you really trying to get the pussy. Like, nah, this is not going to work. And he was like, no, you'll see. Like, you're going to be my wife. Like, and I was just like, this dude is trying real hard. But the more I got to know him, I like instantly, well, I was in roommates with my god sister at the time. But soon as I met him, we was like inseparable. Like I was there at he had his own place in his manager's house. It was like a whole floor. And I would stay there all the time. And shoot, I want to say I might have fell in love with him too, like from day one, but it took had my guards up for so long, but then I've never had something that was so consistent. And he was about consistency, which I never had before in anyone. So I was just like, okay, this is going pretty good. And he was so protective, and just so loving. He just gave his heart. Like I'm telling you, I dated, and you would think 17, but I kind of was out on my own after my mom left. So I felt like I was grown before I met him. So I dated a few other guys, young boys before him, but it was no one like him. And it's so funny because I was all into guys that I was very materialistic, I want to say, because of me being so broke and poor. Mm-hmm. I was like, I want to at least date someone who has something. Mm-hmm. And Earl mm-hmm. didn't have anything. I mean, his boots was two size bigger when I met him. I didn't learn that until he one time took his boots off and he had all these socks balled up. And I was like, and he was like, this is my uncle's boots. I'm telling, like, and he was so attached to my struggle, and I was so like attached to his struggle, like in a way that I was just like, wow, we're the same people. The difference between me and him was though, is that he was very hurt and angry about what his dad not being there for him, and then his mother just not loving him the way he knew he should be loved, because his father's mother, he was very close to her, his grandmother, Mariella, which he talks about in a lot of his songs. She loved him so unconditionally, but he wanted that from his mother. So it was a lot of bitterness there. And I didn't know that at the time, but I knew that as I grew, when I started to doing work on myself, and I was just like, Earl, you have to let this go. Even though he would still be in his mom's life, he would always try to bring her in, but it was just so painful because she dropped him off at 7 years old at a group home. And she didn't tell him. She just was like, oh, I'm just going to have you visit this place and let's see how you like it. Every time, it never fails, he told me that story, he would just break down and cry. Even to when he was a grown man doing interviews, he would just break down and cry. Like, it hurt him so bad.
Because no matter what age you are, a mother abandoning their child sticks with you. So here you are, your mother leaves you. I'm going to the store, never comes back. His mother, at 7 years old, drops him off. Like, the parallels between the two of you, which is why, listen, we're all fans of the two of you, obviously, for years. And we all know, and this is no disrespect to anybody, but the community, the Black community, the hip-hop community, we all know at the end of the day, y'all were soulmates. Like, y'all were soulmates.
Yeah.
We've always saw the connection, even when you guys divorced and all that stuff. We'll get to the other stuff later, but y'all two were kindred spirits, and God brought y'all together because you may not know this, and I don't want to be disrespectful to anybody in his life, but God brought you to him to save him.
I believe that.
And the way you had to raise your siblings, by default, your mom leaving, you had to be this man's best friend, not only his lady, then his wife, but also his mom, in a sense. Did you know that as you were getting to know him and dating him throughout your young life?
But did I know him?
Did you know that was your role?
Yeah, you know what? Again, to a fault. I loved him so deeply to the point where because we were together like 10 years before he became famous. I say now that was the best times of our life. Nice and broke, appreciating everything that we worked hard for.
Say that one more time, Tashera, because listen, one thing I love about my podcast is we get different perceptions of what happiness is. There's a lot of women on my couch who be like, I need a man with money, and I'm like, girl, go ahead, cook. But no one has ever on my couch ever said something in a way that I can receive it. 10 years of you being with Earl, who we know as X, the happiest moments of your life with him was before he was famous, and you said it was nice and broke.
When I tell you nice and broke, we used to go to ShopRite, go food shopping. He used to make his spaghetti for me. I used to make French toast. We were happy. We made our chocolate, peanut butter, and jelly sandwiches.
Yes.
And we sitting up like, yo.
It's just you simply appreciate it more when you don't have it. That's all it is. When you have it, it doesn't mean nothing.
We need 5-course real meals. Like, he was like, yo, he used to call me Boo. He's like, Boo. I'm telling you I'm going to be famous. He was like, I'm going to get us a house. I'm going to do this. I'm like, all right, girl. Okay. I was like, listen, I'm like, this boy dreaming real big right now. And he was like, I'm telling you. I mean, he used to always know. But when I tell you it was the happiest times, and he wasn't perfect, because a lot of times when stuff got low, he had to go get it. You know what I mean? When he had to go get. And I used to be like, what you got? What you got?
I'm buying it, you Clyde. What you
got?
Did you? Okay.
I don't know if I ever said this before, but to the point, because he asked him he gave me an engagement ring like a year in, and he done got it from somebody. He said, I got you. He said, would you marry me? And I said, where you get that ring? He was like, don't worry about it. It's nice. He was like, I know this is something that you would like. I was like, it was so sweet.
I know. Look, sorry to the woman.
Now he just robbed somebody for a ring and brought it to her. Like, baby, I got you something. I got you a ring, boo. You're like, where did you get this from? But it's so nice. It's really cute. Terrible. Bad boys.
Stole it from, or the dog bit it off her arm or her hand, child. But
you know what?
That's so sweet.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and in his book, right? He has. Unfortunately, I just read it like after. Never read it while he was alive, because I was like, I felt like I knew the story. But fans would say he dedicated a whole page to you. I mean, a chapter. It's called Dog Love, and I just broke down in tears because I was like, that's the love, like the unconditional love that we gave each other. And remind you, I was only like 18, 19 when he did that, so I ain't know no better. But the true story to everything is when we had that first son, everything changed. And that's why he made Slippin', which is a true story.
Slipping, I'm falling, I can't get up.
And I'm in it. I'm on the couch, because we used to be nice and broke. And we used to be on that couch eating, and Apollo, we couldn't wait till Apollo came on every Saturday. We'd be sitting on that couch, and I'd be like, yo, look, that could be you. But you want to keep slipping. You just want to keep messing up. You want to keep robbing and stealing. You want to slip into drugs. Like, come on, like, I would literally, and when he did that video, they had a whole nother woman to play it. And he said, we got to the set. Now, mind you, I didn't know he had this in mind. He was like, oh, no one else is playing that role but Tashera. That's the only one. And they was like, but she came all the way. This is an actress, this and the third. He said, I'm good. Who she is? Was she there with me? Was she there with me when my nigga was down? And your ex, or you gotta break shit down.
Yes.
They was just looking at him. It was like Tashera playing that part. And I was like, I'm not, like, what am I? I don't even know what to wear. Like, he was like, what you used to wear? T-shirt and some sweats.
Represent who we were at that time that this song is talking about, yeah.
Yes, meanwhile, that was the second album, so we had a little money then.
Okay,
you know
yeah.
We went back to the projects that we were living in, to the basement apartment. The city let us open it up, and we did the video in that same apartment that we lived in. And it was like, I mean, like, to your point.
That's iconic. That is iconic. That's real memories. Reliving stuff like that. That's memories. And having the money for the people to allow you to do that.
The soulmate. Like, before he passed, I used to get aggravated because people would say that. And it was true. When we were around each other,
oh, yeah.
We finished each other's sentences. Like, no disrespect to the women that he was with, but a lot of them used to be feeling some kind of way, and there was nothing sexual going on. It's just that we were binded solely together. Like, it was magical, to be honest with you. And it used to aggravate me though, because I'm like, but we can't get it together though, because this man want to be running around with every Tom, Dick, and Harry. I can't. Once I knew my worth, I was like, I can't. Yeah. And I got kids now. Somebody got to stand up. I don't want my sons to be doing that. Like,
Did the first time he cheated on you, was he already famous when that happened, or?
Party, Jim Bob World Tour.
Yeah, this is really in depth. Y'all gonna have to get into this one because this is really in depth.
Because infidelity played a huge part in obviously the destruction of the relationship.
Well, I'm gonna be totally transparent. When the first time I ever found out he cheated on me, Xavier was 7 months. And he was in Baltimore because he used to be out in Baltimore the Rough Riders used to try to keep him out of trouble. It was like they were getting his deal together. And I knew something wasn't right. X was a very good father. Like, he was there for Xavier. He was just like, I got to bring my son with me. Tashera, can I bring my son if I'm going to be, away from y'all for so long? Because I had to work. And he wasn't answering the phone. And I was like, something ain't right. Because me and X, this is before cell phones. But he would always let me know they had a block phone. You know how I don't know if you remember.
I do, yeah.
So I was like, he didn't give me the block phone number? Like, something ain't right. I got on a train with my girlfriends, and I had to have been 21, maybe 22, because Xavier, I had him when I was 21. We done got on the Amtrak. I knew the spots they used to stay at, popped up at a Motel 6, got it from one of his friends, because I said he wanted me to bring him some food. He was slipping. Knocked on that outside door, because, Motel 6 is outside.
It is.
And he opened up that door with his boxers on, with his cigarette in his hand, shaking so bad. And I was like, pushed him out the way, me and my girlfriend. And I was so black out of it that I didn't even see a girl sitting on a bed with my son.
Xavier was there?
He was 6 months old, so he didn't know who was his mama. He was probably like, this my mama.
Oh, Lord.
And when I tell you, I was going to pick up Xavier, though, but he thought I was getting ready to hit her. And he, pushed me. And he was like, she's pregnant, and you can go to jail for hitting a pregnant girl in this state. And I said, pregnant? By who? He said, I don't know. She's homeless. I was just helping her.
Man.
Damn. Whoa, the finesse game is next level. She's homeless. Wow. I was just helping her. Whoa. Call the sergeant, baby. That's some on-demand shit right there, baby. That one just came up out of nowhere. Woo.
Man, that's what I'm being very transparent.
You got a homeless chick in your room holding your son?
The guy got juicy stuff. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about right. Honey, I was like, and I said, I'm going to tell you right now, you going to make it, this is a true story. I said, my girlfriend's right there to prove. I said, I don't know what you talking about homeless, but I'm about to walk out this door with our son. You going to choose right now. You want this pregnant girl on this bed, or you coming back to the Yonkers with me? And he said, he started grabbing his stuff and said, I'm coming back with you. And the girl said, what about me? How am I get home? He said, I don't know, figure it out.
Men.
Men. And mind you, I'm 22. So I'm like, I had no remorse. You know what I'm saying? I was like,
all of us are 20s. We made decisions and choices that fit us at that time. You know what I'm saying? There's no judgment. But was she pregnant by him?
So it's so funny. I'll bring this up. Now when he passed away, coming out the woodworks, and that was one. And I did so he literally blew up a year after that. And me and him would always say, because we only had Xavier, we said, if we have a daughter, we're going to name her Raven. And I found out, because I'm doing my research, I'm calling the block, I found out the girl's name. So I said, hey, she had that baby yet? They said, yeah, she had a girl, her name is Raven. I almost lost my whole entire mind, but I didn't say nothing, because I know him. He not gonna admit it. Something had came up and I asked him though. I said, yo, I heard that the homegirl that had the baby, she named her Raven. I was like, you have anything to do with that? He was like, what? Child, she must have remembered that I want to name my daughter Raven, just as I suspect he wasn't going to be honest. Homegirl came out the closet. Well, I shouldn't say out the closet, because obviously she lived her whole life thinking that was her father, because I had conversations with her. But when it was time to take the blood test, she was negative.
Oh, so that wasn't him. Oh.
I found out. I found out 28 years later.
So for 28 years, in the back of your mind as a woman,
I thought that was
you're thinking that that's his daughter.
And it wasn't.
And she took the DNAs after he passed away.
After he passed away. And to be honest with you, I thought she was too.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, you definitely was fucking her. Like, I don't know if I can say that, but you definitely was fucking her. She in the room, she pregnant, you must be your kid. You raggedy dude, but I'm so young. You know? And I was just like, okay. No, you know what? Actually, no. After that, we broke up for a whole year. We actually wound up getting back together when he came to me and he said, Tashera, I promise you that will never happen again. I'm about to get a deal. He was like, I want to take care of you and Xavier. And I was like, at that time, I had dated a couple of guys. I was like, ain't nothing out here. And, you know, we've always had that connection. And that's how we got back together. But a whole year, we broke up after that. I was like, I kicked him out after. He said, I came home with you and everything. I said, I don't trust you. And then that was it. And, yeah, I'm just thinking that now. I'm like, yeah, I forgot a year.
Broke up for a year.
That was the first time, though, to be totally transparent. And then I'll be...
Well, guys... That is Carlos King and DMX's ex-wife, Tashera, with her life story of her mother walking out on her and her 6 siblings at the age of 14, which is a lot to swallow. No pun intended. But at the same time, the mother is dating her father's father and has a baby by him, and then comes back home. And she's forced to be a mother to these siblings of hers. And then she meets DMX and she becomes a mother of sorts to him as well. She has a book that is also coming out that you guys should also tap into. You guys should also go check out Carlos King's channel and watch the full video there. But yeah, she had a rough life and she had to go through a lot of ups and downs, and it seems like a lot of struggles and hurdles. But she met a great love of her life, which was DMX, and had an amazing time in that moment, in the moments they shared, music videos that she can look back on now that she was a part of, pieces of history because of the man that she was with. So a lot of up and down. She got to see her father hold on to hatred that he had to let go, that he actually never did, and he died with the mother, who never was forgiven, and she also died, and just a lot of just choices and just black family issues that are swept under the rug. Always, her innocence was stolen at 14, and she had to become an adult and start living on her own, which was very normalized back then, and things were happening like that in the community. And she was from New York, and I'm from New Jersey. It's very fast-paced. Things like this, it happens all the time. You grow up pretty fast. The streets are hard, and you just gotta click with it and keep it moving. But at the end of the day, no one should have to do and deal with that at an age where they should have their innocence and be able to live as a young child and be free of responsibilities and things of that. If you guys haven't already and you're still here with me, I appreciate you. Make sure you guys subscribe. Yes, you right there. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. Make sure you comment. Make sure you share. And make sure you stay tuned for the next one. Again, make sure you follow me on all platforms. My name is Drum Legacy. Again, this was the DMX Carlos King special. Oh, that was a long debriefing, but it was really worth it, and the content was great. So if you enjoyed the content, make sure you give us a thumbs up. Until next time, guys, take care of yourselves and each other.